Today, news from the southeastern region is abundant. Ukrainian forces have carried out a significant missile strike on the primary Russian bases in southern Ukraine. The objective of this operation was to weaken the offensive capabilities of the Russian forces, who had recently initiated multiple offensives along the Eastern Front to gain control over the entire theater. According to the most recent updates, Russian forces have identified 5 main directions of their offensives: Kupiansk, Lyman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka, and Kurakov. Footage from these regions, when geolocated, confirms that Ukrainian troops are facing intense attacks, with the Russians sending company-size infantry units, each reinforced with a dozen tanks and armored fighting vehicles. However, this extensive use of equipment and personnel puts a strain on Russian logistics, which are already working at maximum capacity to sustain the offensive posture and operational pace. Therefore, any damage to the Russian logistics would disproportionately disrupt their offensive operations and relieve pressure on the Ukrainian defenses. The first target of the Ukrainian missile strike was Donetsk, where a Russian fuel depot in the southeastern part of the city was destroyed. According to Russian sources, HIMARS missiles were utilized in the strike, successfully bypassing Russian air defenses and hitting the target. This marks the second fuel depot destroyed in Donetsk in the past week, along with a massive ammunition depot. It is evident that the Ukrainians are accelerating the deprioritization of this direction for the Russians. Considering that heavy equipment usage is already being rationed in the Avdiivka direction, the destruction of another base would significantly strain the use of armor. The second target was Mariupol, which serves as a crucial logistical hub for the Kurakov direction. Reports indicate that Ukrainians targeted multiple military sites simultaneously, including a concrete factory used by the Russians as a storage facility for heavy equipment and the port city area, which housed their air defense systems. Russian sources report that HIMARS and ATACMS missiles were employed by the Ukrainians. The third target was Henichesk, previously deemed the safest and most vital Russian logistic hub in the Kherson region. Despite the destruction of bridges with Storm Shadow missiles by the Ukrainians, Russian warehouses and bases remained operational, leading to today's substantial strike. Russian sources state that they intercepted 15 missiles, but the available footage only proves the interception of one missile and captures the trajectory of others towards their intended targets. Additionally, Ukrainians struck 3 additional targets in Crimea. Although Crimea may seem distant from the Eastern Front where the Russian offensives are taking place, it serves as an essential logistical hub on which the Russians heavily rely. Having a direct railway connection to mainland Russia, Crimea allows the Russians to move and amass forces in various bases and cities such as Kherson, Dzhankoi, Sevastopol, and all military bases and warehouses along the connecting railways. It has been a while since the Ukrainian strike on the Russian railway bridge near Kherson, indicating that the Russians have likely restored the connection to the Ukrainian railway system and are actively deploying more forces to the front line. The Ukrainian targets of the strike were Sevastopol, Dzhankoi, and Kornomorsk. Notably, 2 days before the strike, the Ukrainian partisan group Henichesk conducted reconnaissance near the Russian airfield in Dzhankoi, identifying valuable targets such as radars. In the case of Kornomorsk, one of the main Russian air defense bases is located there, indicating that the Ukrainians likely aimed to target it, exacerbating the shortage of air defense systems on the front line. In Sevastopol, Russian air defense actively engaged and shot down Ukrainian drones. Details regarding this engagement are yet unknown, but it is possible that it was used as a decoy. Overall, the recent missile strikes carried out by Ukrainian forces in the southeastern region serve as a concerted effort to disrupt Russian logistics and hamper their offensive capabilities. These strikes have targeted key locations, inflicting damage on critical infrastructure and increasing the burden on Russian forces already stretched due to their multi-directional offensives. By destroying fuel depots, ammunition warehouses, and logistical hubs, the Ukrainians have effectively shifted the operational dynamics, offering a potential window for their defenses to alleviate pressure and potentially improve their tactical positions.